to the President's State of the Union speech.
Well, now it's time to hear from you, the people.
President and partner with Maslansky and Partners is Lee Carter here, looking at some incident analysis from what the people thought of at home. Welcome, Lee.
Glad to be here.
One of the most impactful statements was about the Dreamers.
That's right.
Because there were Dreamers brought in by Democrats in the gallery at the same time the president made a dissemination.
That's right. And I think you're going to be surprised by the reaction here.
The line that everyone loved was, "Americans are dreamers too." Let's listen to this and watch the dials.
The sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Well, I shouldn't say everyone loved it, but Democrats did give it a middle of the road. Normally, their line is a lot lower.
That's right. There was not a single moment last night where the Democrats went to the floor. And we have seen over and over again that blue line's usually, sometimes you can't even see it. So you saw Republicans gave it an A, Independents an A, Democrats a C. This was really, really a surprise to me. I didn't expect Democrats to respond so favorably, and they did.
But the headline for me is the number of independents that are back with the president and the Republicans. Watch the line when the president was talking about the economy. Watch the independents. They're up there with the Republicans.
The great news for Americans: 401k, retirement pension, and college savings accounts have gone through the roof. And just as I promised the American people from this podium 11 months ago, we enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history.
So you can see there, Republicans and Independents pretty much in balance with each other, giving it an A-. Democrats gave it a D+. Now, that's not that bad, considering that Democrats don't support this tax plan. Mm-hmm. But we've seen a huge, improvement in the public opinion on tax reform, from a third that approved it when it was passed, now to nearly half of Americans saying it's a good thing. And I think we're going to see that continue to rise.
And now, if the personal brackets change and people are bringing home more money, Democrats got to make a choice here. Strategically, it doesn't make any sense to continue to run down the economy.
It really doesn't make sense. And I think that the fact that the Democrats stayed seated during that portion is not going to work in their favor, because I think the American people are feeling more and more optimistic about their pocketbooks.
Well, the president used the opportunity to also highlight a little boy who's put flags on graves after he visited his grandfather's grave and at Arlington, which was a really touching moment. He was sitting next to Melania. You can see him there with the red tie, cute little boy. And after the president told his story, he said, "That is why we stand for the national anthem." Watch the polls. Watch how the folks that you polled, Lee, reacted to that.
Preston's reverence for those who have served our nation reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put our hands on our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem.
Well, and that was looked at as a shot at the NFL, and people thought, well, why did he do that? Others loved it.
They loved it. That story about that little boy, Republicans gave an A+, Independents an A-, and even Democrats gave that a C. Right. And that's basically an A from the Democrats.
So for the independents, who are the ones who essentially decide elections when it comes to the president, for them to be drifting back toward the Republicans, what does that say to you?
It says to me that the Democrats are going to have it tougher than they expect. I think the Democrats think that's going to be easy for them in the midterms, and hopefully they're thinking in 2020, it's not, because those independents are really what's going to make it up. They're coming back. And when you see he lost 12% of approval among independents, and you're seeing that that's starting to shift, I think that's really going to help.
And the one thing we know, Lee, it is January.
That's
so much changes every day, let alone every season, let alone 8 months.
But if the economy continues to do well, I think that's what Americans care about.
That's right. And I think this speech really made people feel optimistic that hadn't felt so recently. I think he did a great job.
Thank you very much.